Hello, so it's me. I'm going to make a Deaf World video hearing. That way, people who don't understand ASL can understand what I'm saying, but it's the same as the other video. And happy Deaf History Month. Anyway, so I want to talk about Deaf World. It was my first, mostly because I like to keep these going just so when I look back at this, I'll remember it a little bit more. Because I was writing in a journal and now I'm not, so right now this is all I have. So, I just want to talk about it for a little while. So today was my first time at Deaf World, and I loved it. And we got our cool new shirts, and it says, "Can you read my hands?" I don't know if I should stand up. And it says that, H-A-N-D-S. So I'm excited because it was fantastic. I volunteered for class, and which I was going to volunteer anyway. But I've never been to Deaf World before, but I've heard it before. So I'm glad that I finally got the decision, or the choice to go, or I guess it wouldn't be choice. It would be a different word. Anyway, so, I've never been before, right? And if you don't know what Deaf World is, it's like this big room, and they've got all these different tables set up for people, but everybody that's behind the tables, like today I was in the bookstore, like I was the bookstore people, and I was to sign to the people. And if they don't understand what I'm saying, that sucks, you know, like they have to do what deaf people do every day sometimes. So all the hearing people couldn't talk, basically. And there was a hotel, there was like a grill place, there was the bookstore, there was a hospital, there was a bank, there was just different little things. And then like halfway through, there's an emergency and you have to go find like a blue colored chip or something. And if you don't get the blue one, then, you know, you like drown or something. But, you know, that's what goes on every single day. Like, fire alarms go off sometimes and they don't know because they can't hear it. But if you can see it, then like the lights that go off, then it's awesome. So it was a lot of fun. It was I got a lot of people that did know how to sign, which was surprising. So I was excited because I've never seen them before, and so I was like, well, hey, why don't you come to ASL Club, you know, like. But I did get some high schoolers that live in Moultrie, and they are taking an ASL class there, and I was super excited because I like that they are doing an ASL school that is pretty close to Valdosta, where there is a big deaf culture group. You know, not a lot of places have a big deaf population, and Valdosta has a bigger deaf population than most smaller cities. And I think that it's great that they are impacting that in a way, so or influencing it. So I liked that a lot. And there was at the end there's a deaf panel, and there was my teacher Krista, who was hard of hearing, and then there was Sam, who is deaf and has a hearing aid. There was a boy that had a cochlear implant. There was Brandon, and then there was Sharia, and then there was Joshua, and Joshua is a boy who knows a few signs, and he's right in the middle. He can hear a little bit, but he is still considered deaf, and he talks as well. Not as well as most hearing people do, but he does talk, so it can be frustrating. And I had, and Ronnie Mae, who is my other teacher, who is just deaf. I think she has a hearing aid as well. But it was very good because there was a whole bunch of people, and they're all different. Every single deaf person is very different, and I love that about them. Like, it's just so cool. A lot of people put deaf people just in a pile, and they're like, you can't hear. None of you can hear. None of you can talk. But some of them are just so, it's just, everybody has a different background. You're born that way, or you become that way from sickness or illness or something like that. And it's crazy to me. And so they all signed and things like that. And I've seen deaf panels before, but this one was a little different for me because I got to see my teacher up there, Krista, who is hard of hearing, and so she was up there. And then I've never talked to a cochlear implant person before, because for some people who have cochlear implants, some of them might not be as welcomed into the deaf culture as others may be. It depends on your age and when you got it, if you can sign, if you can't, and how nice the deaf people are who are in the deaf culture. Like, if they want to let you in or not. Some people are more willing to go slow with you and talk with you and invite you in, and then some are more like closed off, like, no, your parents screwed you up because you don't sign and you are a cochlear implant, so you're not in our culture. So it's totally different, and I like to get those views and perspectives because as a hearing person who is minoring and maybe majoring in this thing, I would like to get those views and those stories, because if you know more about those people, you're more likely to be able to be a friend and comfort them, and also, you know, help them. Like for kids in the future, you might, if you see a cochlear implant kid who wants to hang out with the deaf kid, I don't know if this happens in middle schools or not, but like if that were a problem but the deaf kid says no, like maybe you can like teach the cochlear implant kid a little more signs or something, you know, like there's always something that can happen. And I love to get different views. I'm just very weird about that. But I loved it, and those are shirts that we got for the volunteers, and I don't know, it made me think a lot about my future and stuff, because right now I'm doing speech pathology, and as some of you guys know, and I'm minoring in deaf studies, which makes me take ASL 1 through 4, but I take a few deaf ed classes, and I've been taking a couple more that's required in my speech as well. So either way, I have a whole bunch of classes that are in this mix, one for my minor and one for my major, but they're all in the same thing, and it really makes me think about like what I want to do in the future and what I'm really passionate about. And it all comes down to this summer. So we're gonna see what I come up and choose with, because if I become an interpreter, I can get a master's in deaf ed and help teach or interpret, or I can become a speech pathologist and work in deaf schools and help therapy. So either way, I am passionate about what I am going to be doing, but it all just depends on my grades. So we're just going to see, and I feel like if I go into the speech stuff, it's not going to be as headstrong as I would like it to be with the deaf, you know? Like I'm going to go into those classes and they're not going to be even like talking about deaf. Like spec. That class doesn't even talk about deaf people as much, at least at my school. So yeah, that's all I have to say today. It was just amazing, so fun. This turned out more like a vlog, but I don't really care. So this was my thing, and if y'all ever want to get into sign language or stuff, look it up on Google. I'm sure that you have a deaf culture near you, unless you live like in Montana. Even then, I'm sure that there's like a deaf culture somewhere there has to be something. But anyway, nice venting to you guys. Anyway, bye. Hope you all have a great day and have the rest of Deaf History Month to yourself, and have just a great day.